This is the Prussian blue paint lab. The first thing for this lab, we want to take into account safety. So obviously I'm going to have my safety glasses on, and I'm going to use gloves just so I don't get any of the chemicals on my hand, because we are making something messy, but it's not really too messy, but I just like to keep gloves on all the same. So for this lab, what you are going to need is you are going to need some iron sulfate. It's just in these blue crystals, and you're going to need some potassium ferrocyanide. So that's this these like red crystals. You'll also need some cups to put one in. You'll need 2 of them, 1 for each of the solutions. You'll need a couple of something to mix each of the solutions in. So I just have popsicle sticks. We'll need a graduated cylinder because we're going to be mixing some water into the solution. So I'll need a graduated cylinder and some water. I just use a cup here to mix that in. And we're going to need a digital balance. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our iron sulfate solution. So I'm going to take one of those empty cups and I'm going to place it on the digital balance, and I'm going to zero it out. So we're going to need 2 grams of iron sulfate. Now, since it's a blue solution, I just put a little bit of paint on this blue. That way I know that I always use this spoon. I don't want to mix the chemicals back and forth. So I am going to just go ahead and I just put a little bit on that spoon, and I'm going to try to put the spoon as far as I can into that cup as I can to just drop a few crystals in. 2 grams is not that much. So once I get to 2 grams, then I can put the rest back that's on the spoon. There we go. All right. So I have that. Now, then it tells you to mix in 10 milliliters of water. So 10 milliliters is not that much. It's really not that much. I'm going to mix that in, and you're going to take one of your stirring rods and you're going to stir it until it's completely dissolved. Now, I've already done that with this. So this is what it should look like, right? It's sort of like a bluish, whitish, maybe a little bit yellowish mixture. So we'll go ahead and set that aside for now. That is our iron sulfate solution, right? So this is just iron sulfate mixed in with that water. All right, so I'll set that aside over there. All right, so the next thing is that we need the potassium ferrocyanide. So I'm going to take an empty cup, and I am going to zero it just to make sure that I get all the same. Now I'm going to measure out 1 gram of the potassium ferrocyanide, right? So I just get a little spoonful, and I just sort of slowly shake it. I put the spoon as far as I can into that cup until I measure out 1 gram, right? So sometimes you have to wait. The scale sometimes takes a little while to balance out, but I can slowly do that until I get 1 gram, right? And you can see here, 1 gram. Put the rest back. Put that spoon in there. 1 gram is not that much, right? Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to measure out 10 milliliters of water, right? Not that much. And then I'm going to set it down. I'm going to pour it into there, and I'm going to use another stirring straw. So I'm not going to use the same one I used in the iron sulfate one. I'm going to use a new one, and I'm going to mix in that water, or mix the water and the potassium ferrocyanide. So it takes a little while. You just want to make sure all the crystals are gone. So when you do that, you're going to get this like yellowish solution, right? This is what it's going to look like. You want that yellowish solution to be mixed in, right? So you can see here there's no more of those crystals. I'll go ahead and set this aside. I already mixed them in just for the sake of time. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move some things out of the way here, because now we're going to mix these solutions together. So this is the whole key to this lab, is we're going to be making the Prussian blue paint. So I'm going to go ahead and set these aside because I want to get up close so you can see that reaction that's going to take place, right? So I'll go ahead and get this close. We'll move the camera down so we can see it. There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I don't need this popsicle stick anymore, right? So now we don't need a new one to mix them because this one already has the solution on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that solution that has the potassium ferrocyanide, pour it into the solution with the iron sulfate. So basically I'm going to take that yellowish solution and pour it into the blue-white solution. So just watch what happens. So now notice that it sort of turns blue. There's like a chunky solid in there now. So it is like you're going to have to mix this up. Like I said, I'm going to use this popsicle stick. But there is like a chunky solid in with that solution. You can sort of mix that around. You can really see that. And now this is going to be like the Prussian blue paint, right? So this is that Prussian blue paint. Now what you can do is you can get a Q-tip, right? A Q-tip, and you can draw on it, right? So I'll just grab a Q-tip. There we go. Or you can use a paintbrush. So you can use this. Just put that in there, and we can get a blank sheet of paper, and you can draw something with it. So that is the that's the Prussian blue, right? That's the pigment. So you can see here, I just sort of wrote a nice science quote by Neil deGrasse Tyson in it. So you can do you can do a lot with it. It does create quite a bit of the pigment. So you should be able to have enough to do like paint a small painting with it. So once again, this is the Prussian blue paint lab.